All right, let's get right into it. AI video. It's been a bit of a wild ride, hasn't it? Full of these unpredictable, sometimes just plain bizarre results. But what if you could finally tame that chaos? Today, we're going to take a look at a new tool from Google that promises to give creators, well, real honest-to-goodness control, turning AI from a fun toy into a legit professional tool.
Just close your eyes and listen to this for a second. Imagine a weather-old sea captain, salt in his beard, standing at a ship's railing with stormy waves crashing behind him. He turns to the camera and says, "The ocean teaches you respect, one wave at a time." You can almost feel the sea spray, right? The gravel in his voice, the sound of the ocean. It feels totally real.
Well, you probably guessed it. Here comes the twist. That sea captain, his voice, the ocean, that sweeping cinematic camera move, none of it, not a single bit of it was real. It was all generated by Google's brand new AI model, VO 3.1, from just a single text prompt. And that level of believability? That's exactly why we need to talk about this.
So that brings us to the big problem with AI video up until now. Let's call it the weirdness factor. You know what I'm talking about. You'd feed it this perfectly crafted prompt and it spits back something that's kind of what you wanted, but the character's face keeps changing. The camera's doing its own thing and everything just feels a little off. It was more frustrating than useful a lot of the time.
And this really frames the solution perfectly. Before, it was like you gave the AI a prompt and just hoped for the best, right? That middle part of the story was a total surprise party, and you didn't know if it was going to be good or a complete mess. But now with VO 3.1, you control the story. You get to define the beginning and the end, and the AI's job is just to fill in the blanks, to faithfully animate the journey between those 2 points.
And this right here is the breakthrough. Google's VO 3.1 isn't just another little update. It delivers a whole suite of features that really does transform AI video from a fun gimmick into a tool that professionals can actually rely on. So let's run through what's new. You've got richer, much more believable audio. The AI actually understands what you're asking for way better now. The visuals are so much more lifelike. Look at the skin, the fabric, the lighting. But the really crucial thing, the one I want you to focus on, is right there in the middle. Start and end frames. That is the killer feature. It's the one that ties everything else together and gives you that control we've been talking about.
So yeah, let's just zero in on that superpower for a minute. This is the feature that really changes the whole game. Being able to lock in your first frame and your last frame, that finally solves the biggest headache in AI video continuity.
So what does that actually mean in practice? Well, it's so simple it's brilliant. You just upload an image for your opening shot and another image for your closing shot. The AI's only job is to create a smooth video that gets you from point A to point B. And crucially, it keeps your subject, whether it's a person or a product, looking exactly the same the whole way through. No more weird, creepy morphing.
And think about what this unlocks. The applications here are huge. For businesses, this means you can finally do brand-safe logo reveals that don't get all funky. For marketers, it means you can have consistent product shots for an entire campaign. And for storytellers, well, this unlocks the door to seamless long-form stories.
Okay, let's look at a real-world example, like a headphone ad. You can literally write out your shots like a director, with timestamps and everything. So from 0 to 2 seconds, you want to slow dolly in. Then around the 3-second mark, a fast, fluid 180-degree orbit. And for the final shot, pull back to a silhouette. You're not just prompting, you're giving the AI a shot list, and it actually follows your directions.
And here's where it gets really, really powerful. You're not limited to just one short clip. You can chain these shots together, as many as you want. You just take the very last frame of your first video, make that the start frame of your next one, write a new prompt, and boom, the story just keeps going with perfect, unbroken continuity.
All right, let's switch gears and look at another workflow because it's not just about start and end points. You can also use multiple images to build a whole scene from scratch. It's almost like you're taking a mood board and just telling it to come to life.
This is what they call frames mode. It's so cool. You can generate 3 totally separate still images, one for your subject, one for an object, and one for the setting. Then you just feed all 3 of them to VO 3.1, add a simple prompt with some dialogue, and the AI blends them all into one believable, grounded moment. It anchors the identity of every single element in that scene.
So what this all really means is that you need to start thinking a little differently. You're not just writing a simple text prompt anymore. To get the best results, you've got to start thinking like a director. And if you do that, you can get some truly cinematic, film-grade stuff out of this.
There's this one line from the source material that it hits the nail on the head. It says, if you write it like a director, it shoots it like one. And that's the new paradigm right there. You have to be specific. Talk about camera moves, lighting, sound design, just like you would on a real set.
And here are some practical tips for those common AI video headaches. Is your character's face kind of drifting? Lock those start and end frames. Does the voice just sound wrong? Get specific. Tell it the age, the tone you want. If the camera's going wild, use those time-boxed beats we talked about. And if the whole thing just feels a little too AI, a little too perfect, you can actually tell it to add real-world imperfections like lens breathing or a handheld feel to make it feel more organic.
So, how can you actually start doing this? Here's a super fast workflow. First, write a quick beat sheet with timestamps. Then, generate your main still images. Choose your start and end frames. Paste your prompt in, specify the audio, and hit render. Check it out, and if you like what you see, just chain it to the next shot and keep your story going.
And maybe the most impressive thing about all of this, the thing that's kind of mind-blowing, this whole process, from generating stills to rendering complex, chained video sequences, it can all happen in a single browser tab. No more jumping between 5 different apps. It's all right there.
Which, of course, brings us to the final really big question. This kind of technology puts the power of a director, a camera crew, an editor, a sound designer, all of it into the hands of anyone with a web browser. So, you have to ask, when anyone can direct an entire scene from just a single tab, what kind of new stories are we going to see? What kind of stories will you tell?